Professor Matt. This is the extra credit post. This is my son, Hunter.
Nice to meet you, sir.
And Hunter is a very devout Christian. He's very biblical. I mean, he can quote so much out of the Bible, and he is the person who would go to the Bible looking for answers and find them there and be completely content with those answers that he finds and believe them wholeheartedly. So I decided that we would discuss how philosophy and religion can work together and kind of get his viewpoint on it, because tell him how much you know about philosophy.
The only thing that I know about philosophy is what I've just read out of her paper, which is philosophy is basically based on someone's opinion, which cannot be proven right or wrong. On top of that, your 2 videos on chapter 1 and chapter 2, I don't know anything else.
So I kind of gave him a little crash course in philosophy so that he would understand what I was wanting out of him for this video. So, Hunter, now that you have seen the videos for chapter 1 and 2 out of Professor Matt's book, what do you think about allowing bits of philosophy to come into your thinking? Do you think that it's possible that you could incorporate philosophy and religion, or do you just feel like it's completely out of the question?
Well, I would have to understand a little bit more about philosophy to be able to answer that question correctly. The only really good answer that I could offer you is what I have just read recently. With philosophy, we understand that philosophy is someone's opinion, which can't be proven right or wrong. So this is really just my own opinion. I can't really state whether you actually can or not. Now, I have read some scientific articles, which is basically all that I have to go on here. And I have, like, one of the major debates is, can science prove creation, or does it prove the existence of God? And we have some scientists saying yes, others saying no. Some people are indifferent. I feel like there are some ways where science does back up the proof of a creator, and then there's other ways where it just doesn't. We see a lot of scientific evidence about mathematics and how it's perfectly squared. You know, that's some kind of circle thing they do. Can't remember what it is exactly.
Well, math is math. There's always going to be a solution to math, unlike philosophy, you know. Right. So, something we kind of touched on in class or in discussions was that do we have to see God? Do we have to have proof of God in order to believe that He is, that there is God, the creator of all?
According to Scripture, no, you do not. Scripture states that faith is believing in what is not seen, and believing in that is the proof of things unseen. From a philosophical point of view, it's kind of hard to prove that, you know. Especially, you know, you combine that into science, and like people look for hardcore evidence. You know, that's how Einstein came up with his theory of time relativity. That's how Galileo discovered the moons. Like, I mean, before then they didn't even think that it was there, you know. So, I mean, it all is connected in some way, but it's hard to prove it in a scientific and philosophical way without having direct evidence of it.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Somewhat. So, some junior philosophers are, well, okay, take me for instance. Before I decided to take this class, I put it off for years and years and years. this is actually my third associate's degree that I'm working on, leading
just won't
to
stop, will you?
to other things. No, I'm a lifetime learner. I like to keep the brain going, but I knew that I needed to take a philanthropy kind of class, and I took Survey of World Religions, and I took all these other classes, and then I was left with philosophy. And talking with some of my friends who've taken the class, and some of my friends who are just completely against any philosophical thought, they all told me, I wouldn't take that class if I were you. You're gonna go in there, they're gonna change your mind, they're gonna try to fill you with all this stuff, they're gonna try to make you change your own beliefs. And so when I decided to take the class, I knew that I had to go at it with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I couldn't go in and already have my mind made up about things. I knew
Right.
that I was gonna have to be open-minded so that I could get as much out of the class as I could, because yes, I'm a Christian too, and I go to the Bible for the tough questions as well. But I think that this class has shown me that absolutely philosophy and religion can be intertwined. They can assist, that's not the word that I'm looking for, but they can coexist, complement. They can complement each other. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have one view or the other. You can have both, and I've got a lot out of it, out of this class, and I've become a lot more open-minded since taking it, and I've encouraged Hunter to take it because he's actually studying at Pellissippi right now as well, and I highly encouraged him to take your class.
Watch out, Professor.
No, he's a really good kid. You'd enjoy him if he's in your class. But anyway, that aside, basically, I was talking to you earlier. Philosophy kind of intertwines all kinds of things. Philosophy is one of those sciences that you can't hypothesize about. You can't come up with an exact answer. It doesn't have the scientific formula that you work through to be able to answer these questions. A lot of it is subjective. And, from what I understand, once these questions are able to be answered, then it kind of branches off, like psychology. Psychology was a lot philosophy based, and once they were able to start doing scientific testing and things like that on it, then it branched off into its own science. There's several others, but like we mentioned earlier, mathematics is not philosophy. Mathematics always has an answer. There's always one answer to the problem. You can always figure it out. So, you talked about how philosophy is not ice cream. Well, I think philosophy is not math. That's probably a much more generalized answer than your ice cream analogy, which was pretty awesome. But
So can I ask you a question?
yes.
You said very recently that Christianity, or any other religion for the matter, can complement philosophy. In what ways do you think that it does so?
I think that it just helps you to be able to look at the bigger picture, to not necessarily. I just think that if you can put philosophy in it, that you can get a better understanding of it. I think it makes you think deeper about stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and you use your philosophical view and your Christianity view in order to, like I said, get a better understanding of things, you know? Because as with religion and God, we don't have to have proof that God exists in order for us to know that he does. That's our belief.
I see what you're saying. So that's a way that it does complement it, because philosophy states that it's an opinion, not like it's not completely based on, like you could say, well, I think that ice cream there is brown, while someone else might think it's tan, you know? It's not solid or concrete. We as Christians believe in a creator, but we don't necessarily have proof of it, but we know that the ice cream is there. We know, you know, that God is there as well. So in that way, you know, you have an opinion based upon those two things that complement each other, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, okay, we went over by a minute, so I'm gonna end this video. But again, thank you for listening to my son Hunter. He's
Nice
my
to meet you.
man. And we have one more video we'll be able to do this semester. I wish I'd started doing it much earlier because it's not near as what's the word I'm looking for? Intimidating as I thought it would be. But I hope you enjoyed. I hope this answered the prompt. Thank you, Professor Matt.